Yo, what's going on, guys? Hopefully Galate here. Welcome back to another video. Now, today's video, Regulation D rules were literally just announced probably an hour ago, and I just compiled a list of all the Pokemon that I think are good, and I also want to talk about this meta, what it means kind of going forward, going into Worlds and going into post-Worlds, maybe some post-World tournaments. But before we get into the video, if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe, because of course I'm going to be bringing more content this summer, and I'm going to be getting, well, this Thursday I'm going to be getting my Elgato thing set up this week, so I should be streaming sometime. But if you want to find the rule set, it's going to be on Cerebi. Cerebi has it. Basically what the rule set is all Pokemon from Pokemon Home are allowed to be used, except for the main box art legendaries and restricted legendaries like, you know, Rayquaza, Kyogre, Xerneas, stuff like that. So you can use all the other Pokemon, which is pretty sick, So I compiled a list of all the Pokemon that I think are going to be pretty relevant in the VGC Regulation D meta, and I'm just going to be going through and talking about individually like what these Pokemon can do and how they match up into the metagame. Also, one thing I do want to mention is that with this extending, it goes from, I think it says July 1st to September 30th. September 30th is a really cool time frame because September we normally the US normally has 2 regionals. So if you live in the US, or you could even just travel for this even if you're outside the country, but the US normally has 2 regionals in September. So there's potentially, and those would both be Regulation D. Now this is from this year, so it might not be the same time slot, but I'm assuming we'll at least have 1 regional in September. For Europe, I don't know if Europe will be the same, or if Europe will even have a September regional, but Latin America might have one. Oh shit, maybe not. But there's going to be some regionals with Regulation D, so even if you're not going to Worlds, which obviously the majority of people are not going to Worlds, especially competing at Worlds, so obviously there's that. But you can still, you know, grind this out for when locals for the next season and regionals. So there is significance to this format. I wish it was a bit longer though, just because I feel like I feel like July, August, September. Yeah, like I feel like the meta should develop more. Yeah, I want it to develop more. But anyways, we're gonna go into all the new Pokemon here. Regieleki being added is absolutely. We're just gonna start off with Regieleki. We're gonna start off with all the broken Pokemon that are gonna be added. I'm kind of excited for this format because Regulation C right now is pretty bad, just because there's a lot of power creep, and I feel like by adding this additional power creep, it's gonna balance it out kind of. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Like the power creep will balance out the other power creep, I hope, and I think it should. I feel like that's how it should work. But Regieleki, you're gonna be the fastest thing in the game. You're outspeeding everything. Then that's the main thing with Regieleki. The only issue with Regieleki is Regieleki, Urshifu, or Regieleki another mon is going to be insane because it's literally just better Iron Bundle, because Iron Bundle with booster energy, it's probably still going to be insanely popular. That way you can outspeed the Regieleki with max speed. But like Electro Web is going to hit the whole meta insanely. I mean, you're gonna outspeed everything, and speed control, especially in a format where you're gonna have a lot of strong Pokemon in, especially a lot of Pokemon that are more offensively geared. I mean, if you look at this list that I compiled, we have Urshifu, we have, well, I guess there's actually not too many, but like even like a Namorous, I guess Landorus is immune. Yeah, but you know, even like with a Pokemon that we already have, like Fluttermane, like Chi-Yu, like Iron Bundle, those Pokemon, their speed is very important. So having the fastest Pokemon in the game, and really the only thing that's going to be outspeeding this is booster energy, Flutter, or Bundle. And in that case, if you fail to pick up the knockout on Regieleki, you're going to get one shot of your Bundle, and Fluttermane, you Electro Web it once, and then your other Pokemon can deal with it. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. And Regieleki just goobs the hell out of the meta. And we haven't even gone into Terra. Terra for this thing is actually insane, because it used to be like, okay, you face a Landorus, you're kind of screwed because you don't have anything else you can do. I mean, yeah, you can. Excuse me. You can max strike Hyper Beam, right? And that can do 30%. But now you can run Terra Ice if you really want, and just one shot the Landorus. Okay. So you can run Terra Ice to deal with Landorus, because Landorus is going to be the main Regieleki counterplay, or just ground types in general, but Landorus is going to be the main counter play. So if you can just Terra Ice immediately remove it from the board, GG's. But you could also just run Terra Electric, because then Terra Electric basically allows you, like if you run Magnet, Terra Electric, you probably one-shot everything in the metagame. Like, I'm not even joking. You probably just one-shot everything. Let's run a calc real quick. Let's run Regieleki. I don't know how to spell this guy's name. How do you spell Regieleki? There we go. Screens, lead, special attacker, uber special attacker. I don't want to be life or I just want to be magnet. And also, you should be timid on this. Okay, that is a build. Oh no, I got rid of its ability. Transistor. All right, here we go. Magnet. Okay, into art. Let's just say Arcanine, right? Let's just say Arcanine. Why? No, that's. Here we go. OU utility. Let's just say this Arcanine. Thunderbolt. I mean, this is more Fizz Def Arcanine. This is very Fizz Def, but you Terra Electric here. Okay, so let's see Thunderbolt from Regieleki into physically defensive Arcanine is always pretty much going to one shot, which is like pretty insane. You have a 70% chance to kill, and you don't need to go 200 speed. You could honestly just go modest, and if you go modest, it's a guaranteed OHKO. Like, and that's into Arcanine. That's neutral. That's insane. That's stupid. That should not be happening. So Regieleki into the metagame is just gonna be able to hit everything hard. I know Arcanine was a weird example, but Arcanine is just kind of a benchmark of a pretty bulky Pokemon. Like, Arcanine is a Pokemon where it's not gonna get one shot by a lot of stuff unless it's, I don't know, Wave Crash from Palafin. But it has to be the hero form. So, you know, it will. Arcanine lives basically everything in the metagame. You can EV it to live Iron Bundle pumps. Like, it's Arcanine. It lives. So Regieleki being able to one-shot it, kind of crazy. Next, so honestly, this Pokemon is going to facilitate so many offensive teams, and it might come down to speed ties and whatnot, but I think it will kind of balance out the metagame a little bit. Pokemon I'm concerned for is Urshifu, because obviously this thing, you have to be. I think you have to be Sash. If you are running Tailwind, you can afford to be Choice Band, but if you are not running Tailwind, you have to be Focus Sash on this guy, in my opinion. Just because Fluttermane is a Pokemon, and if Fluttermane Terras, Sucker Punch is not killing, so you're kind of forced into running Sash. You're kind of I'm just checking out some battles. Skylighter, Typhlosion, that's kind of cool. You're forced into. What was I saying? Okay, Urshifu also just hits the majority in the meta. Like Chi-Yu, dead. Bundle, dead. Flutter, dead to Wicked Blow. Okay, yeah, they can Terra, Fairy. That's the only thing. Flutter is like Urshifu won't be. Urshifu is going to be strong. But Urshifu needs support. Like, lone Urshifu in this meta is not going to work. You either need Tailwind or you need web support, which is where you can see the combination of Regieleki, Urshi Bundle, Urshi Talon. But Talon's not going to be that good anymore because Torn has been added. So you can see Urshi, Torn again. So you're going to start to see those cores you saw in Gen 8 kind of develop. But I think Urshi is just going to be one of the best wall breakers in the metagame. I mean, this thing's not going to be not bad. It's just going to hit for so much damage. I mean, you hit so much in the metagame. You threaten a lot of things. The thing about Urshi is that it has a lot of checks. Like, I'm not concerned about this Pokemon because it has a lot of checks. But this thing is going, like, you run Wicked Blow. I mean, obviously you run Wicked Blow, Close Combat, Sucker Punch. You could tech Iron Head if you want, because Iron Head will pick up on the Fluttermanes. But I don't think you need to. I think you can just run your standard two dual stabs. And then, well, dual stabs like Wicked Blow, Sucker Punch, Close Combat, Protect, and you should be fine. Choice Banded, I think is also going to be pretty good, but I feel like if you're going to run Choice Banded, that means your team has to have a Tailwind setter and speed control, like Bundle or Regieleki, for that to happen. Because for ban to work, ban means you're so much more vulnerable to all of the offensive Pokemon in the metagame. Like, if there's a Scarf, or if there is a Chi-Yu, well, what are you speed wise? 97. If there's a timid Chi-Yu with Life Orb, it probably OHKOs you. So that means that you have to make sure that you can support it well. But I think once you do, this thing screws the entire minigame over. Like, yeah, there are a lot of things to keep it in check, and you have to position it right. But this thing, like, bops everything. It one-shots bundle, one-shots to you. The only thing is that, like, it doesn't really do well on Iron Hands. Like, a lot of the bulkier Pokemon this gen, like, Amoonguss is still going to be a good counter because you can, or not counter, but, like, a good way to deal with it because you can Rage Powder. Iron Hands goobs the hell out of this mon. Like, okay, these two Urshifu forms, like, actually, a really good check to these Urshifu forms, now that I'm looking at it, like, all these Pokemon kind of are checked by Iron Hands. So if you're going to take anything away from this video, Iron Hands is going to go up in usage. That's my prediction, because like the only Pokemon that really beat Iron Hands are Landorus, but okay, you just Terra Ice. It's done. Dude, it's Shamoned. So that single-handedly, I think Iron Hands usage goes up. 100% Iron Hands usage goes up. But like the Urshifu forms, okay, we already talked about that Urshi Rapid. I think this mon's gonna be better than regular. It depends on the scenario. But if you think about it, it OHKOs Flutter. Well, Wicked Blow, they Terra, you're kind of in trouble. Yeah, they Terra, you're in trouble. But you OHKO Flutter, which is fantastic. That's what you want. Bundle, you still close combat. Chi you OHKO. And you deal more damage to hands. The only issue is you're not going to be dealing with stuff like Amoonguss all that well. You're checked by Amoonguss pretty well. And like, I don't know, just more of the bulkier Pokemon. I mean, even Hands, if they Terra, you're kind of screwed. Hands actually has a better time against. Hands doesn't really matter. The matchup's still kind of the same. Actually, you force the Terra on Hands if it doesn't want to take a decent bit of damage, because Hands is probably going to take like 40-ish% from Surging Strikes. But like Urshifu Rapid Strike is still pretty good. I just think Single Strike is always going to have more usage in my opinion, but I think Rapid Strike is really compelling in this metagame. The only issue is that with Rapid Strike, I feel like you can probably run Band. I feel like you could definitely see both because they both give them meta, but they're going to be insanely good. The next Pokemon I want to talk about is Ursaluna. Now, what's kind of crazy is with all these Pokemon being added back into the meta, Ursaluna is very interesting. Because, and I forget where it was, but I saw a calc today that shook me to my core. A +2 Guts boosted Facade from Ursaluna. I think it has to be Terra Normal. With max attack into a max HP, max defense nature Corviknight does 95% minimum, but it's a roll to kill, but it's like a 70% chance to OHKO a Corviknight. And I saw that calc and I realized something. This mod is fucking busted. The only thing that makes it dealable is it has 50 speed. So yes, you can have it be on the board. However, like, okay, let me try to process this and be able to say it in a way that makes sense. Ursaluna is a Pokemon that's good in Trick Room, and its stats are fit for Trick Room. However, Torkoal is still going to be good, Amoonguss is still going to be good, and Glastrier was added back. So all of those Pokemon deal well with Ursaluna. Now you can say, well, Torkoal gets gooped. Yeah, but before that, you get a Eruption off. And yes, Ursaluna is going to be able to tank that Eruption. However, it needs to, in order to kill the Torkoal reliably, it's going to run Headlong Rush, which lowers its defenses. Which then means if Torkoal lives, it can Heat Wave next turn. And Glastrier checks this thing. Well, not checks, but kind of checks it, and Amoonguss spores it. And really, okay, yeah, you can run Flame Orb, and so that's the thing, like you run Flame Orb Guts, so you're not affected by status. Actually, the more I think about it, the more this guy's going to be actually broken. What the hell? Because I was thinking about it like this. Well, at least Amoonguss, like, you kind of check it. But if you play Ursaluna right, you know, you can just run Protect so you can avoid being spored. And then get your Flame Orb, and then you can't be spored. So under Trick Room, this guy goes absolutely crazy. And if we're going to look at the list of all the Pokemon that are going to be added, we have an amazing new Trick Room setter in Cresselia. Because before, if you wanted to use Trick Room, well, the setters were Indeedee, Armarouge. I mean, really, what were the other Trick Room setters? If I'm going to be 100% honest, it's Indeedee, Armarouge. And that's about it. Those are all the mostly relevant ones. Indeedee, Armarouge. And Indeedee, Armarouge, they have fallen off a lot. I'm not going to say they're not good, because I've seen people use them recently and have success, but they've fallen off. But Cresselia is one of those Pokemon where you can just slap it onto a team and that mon is always going to be good. I mean, its damage output is nothing insane, but it eats hits all the time and it can consistently set Trick Room. I mean, 120, 110, 120 is literally one of the best defensive spreads you could honestly ask for. And Psychic, while in this meta, it's not a good defensive typing. In this meta, it's not, because we have Fluttermane and Chi-Yu and Chien-Pao and all the guys. I get it. But Cresselia Trick Room is going to be absolutely insane, because you pair that with Ursaluna, and Ursaluna destroys everything in the metagame. It does. So with Ursaluna, because Ursaluna is a Pokemon that exists, Trick Room is going to skyrocket, because with the addition of Cresselia, we actually have a viable Trick Room setter. Because if we did not get Cresselia as a Trick Room setter, we would, I don't think Enamorus gets Trick Room. It does not. I don't think this guy gets Trick Room either. Okay, so Enamorus doesn't get Trick Room. So really, without that, okay, yeah, it would be like Uxie, Mesprit, but you're not going to run that as Trick Room setter. Cress enables Trick Room to be good, and Trick Room has a lot of mons. Like, let's say if there was Indeedee or Armarouge as a Trick Room setter, Trick Room would not be good, because those Pokemon are not, like, they're not, they fail and they fall behind in terms of power, in terms of being able to live, survivability in a metagame like this. But Cresselia has that bulk it needs to just live every hit. So Ursaluna is going to be powered up by having a consistent Trick Room setter. And honestly, with Cresselia, all you have to do is run specially defensive Cresselia. And if you're really concerned about a Fluttermane or a Chi-Yu, run a Resist Berry, run Colbur, run Cassiv if you really want. Run Citrus. I mean, Spadef Citrus is probably the way to go, but if you're really, really concerned, run Colbur, run Cassiv, you're good. You're going to get up the Trick Room. Ursaluna's going to go absolutely crazy. Nothing in the meta is going to beat it. You think? Maybe. People are going to find ways to beat it. People are going to find ways to deal with it. I think Palafin's a pretty decent way to deal with it, but yet again, it gets goobed. So you're probably going to be running Ghost types to deal with it, but the Ghost types honestly aren't that good. So honestly, I think like Ursaluna, I'm trying to think about it now. I mean, there are a couple of checks like Gyarados can deal decently well with it, but if they tear like water, nothing switches into this. This thing just obliterates the entire metagame. So Trick Room's definitely going to be really good. Now, a Pokemon that I'm very excited for, Enamorus. Let's go to Google real quick. Let's go to Google. And let's look at some amazing Enamorus art. Where's some cool Enamorus art here? Where is he? Who let this guy look this cool? I swear. Enamorus? The card art is kind of whack. The plushie is kind of whack. But Enamorus is in my top 10 favorite Pokemon. I don't know. Something about Enamorus really just strikes me as this Pokemon is amazing. The turtle is really cool, but I like the regular guy. The turtle, he's cool, but the regular guy, sick. The only thing about the regular guy that I don't like is the lips. He's got the Jinx lips, and I'm like, I don't know. That's kind of weird. But okay, yeah, this card art is actually just terrible. But God, is he cool looking. I love him. I love Enamorus. I'm telling you, I'm building around this Pokemon just because Enamorus is my favorite Pokemon from Hisui. It's so cool that we have a new genie. And this guy, this guy's gonna be good. Now the unfortunate thing is that it's flying type. That's the unfortunate thing. Now, why do I say that? Well, flying type is not going to be good in this metagame. Really, it's just not. I mean, yes, it's good for, I guess, Landorus, but if you look at the Pokemon included, flying type is not good. Flying type doesn't benefit you at all because number one, what that means is, okay, Regieleki, you get hella goobed by Regieleki. You get hella goobed by Bundle. And it's really, 106 speed is really good. And if it was just pure fairy, this mon would be amazing. However, the flying typing hurts this Pokemon. And I think it's not going to be super relevant because of that. However, that being said, Contrary exists. And so because of that, I think this mon could be good. Because think about it like this. We have a lot of new physical attackers in the metagame. Ursaluna, Landorus, it's actually not too many. Glastrier. But then you're going to have a lot of physical attackers that are still good, like Iron Hands, those Pokemon. I'm blanking on good examples. But Intimidate's going to be still going to be pretty popular, and even more popular with Landorus. So, obviously having a mon to check that's going to be insane. Contrary is absolutely good. And I guess Play Rough. You know, you could run a physical with Life Orb. That could be pretty fun. You could also just straight up run, yeah, you can run like, I feel like Life Orb is always the way to go with Enamorus, but you can run like physical superpower. I forget what other moves it gets, but yeah, you could run that set. I think it's still really good, like Taunt, Protect. That could be a cool set. I don't know what other moves it gets, but that's kind of pretty much all you need for a physical set. But if you want to get Swanky, you could really just run Special because it gets Moonblast. It gets Earth Power, it gets Heat Wave or something, it gets Fire Move, right? I guess Mystical Fire. Like, this is all you need for a special set. This thing with base 135 special attack with Life Orb, it's gonna be really good. The only thing is that if you're using Enamorus not for Contrary, what are you doing? Because Fluttermane is better. Fluttermane has the same special attack. Fluttermane has way better speed. And yes, its bulk isn't, like, Enamorus's physical bulk is technically better, but it's still piss poor to the point where pretty much anything is going to do it in. It'll live some hits compared to where Fluttermane would drop, but in all terms, Enamorus is not going to be good with that set. Yes, technically you could say, well, it gets Earth Power, so it has a better move pool, but in reality, that doesn't matter because Fluttermane does Enamorus's job better. However, the Contrary set is going to be different because we don't have a good Contrary Pokemon right now. I mean, really, Defiant is the best way to counter Intimidate as of right now, and Defiant, the best one you have is Kingambit, and Kingambit, and this metagame is going to be way too slow and way too frail to the majority of the mons that are going to be introduced. And even in the current metagame right now in Reg C, it's kind of underwhelming, in my opinion. But with this new Contrary Pokemon, yes, I mean 115 base attack isn't like the biggest thing to go off of, but if you're at a +1 with Life Orb, you're probably going to be one-shotting or doing a significant amount to most Pokemon, and you can self-boost with Superpower, and you know, you have good enough bulk to live like 1 or 2 hits. You have good enough bulk to live a hit plus Life Orb chip. So, Enamorus, it's pretty good, and it pairs well with like Ursaluna and other Pokemon that feared being intimidated. So I could really see the Contrary Enamorus popping up really well. Now this Enamorus I'm also very excited for because this is a great counter to Amoonguss. Not a great counter, but a good enough counter. Now this Enamorus is very interesting because it is a pretty bulky one. The stat distribution is pretty odd. Excuse me. I really needed water. I was talking for way too long. Also, coffee makes me dehydrated for some reason. So, like, I had 2 cups, so I needed that. But this Enamorus is going to be very interesting because, you know, it gets all the same moves. Like, this thing gets Tailwind, even though it has 46 base speed. It gets taunt, but you're probably going to be seeing this more on Trick Room teams. I can see this being just an all-around general. This team's going to stick on the board a little bit. Trick Room relies on your Pokemon being able to obviously dish out a lot of damage, but staying in the board. I mean, Trick Room, you're not going to have... Trick Room's not known for glass cannons. Even Torkoal, yes, his Spadef isn't amazing, but you invest in Spadef, it's going to be living some hits. I think it lives, Flutter Power Gem, some cool stuff. Iron Hands, Glass Tree, it's commonly known for bulkier Pokemon that can just dish out a lot of damage, and Enamorus is also like that. So Enamorus is going to be seen on Trick Room teams. Overcoat is really nice because Trick Room teams also struggle versus opposing Amoonguss. So if you could just have this Pokemon be immune to Amoonguss, that's really cool. And yeah, Amoonguss technically can hit it for Stab, Sludge Bomb, which is probably going to be doing 45%, 40-ish%, depending on how you invest. So it's going to be hitting for significant damage, but you can hit it back with, yet again, you can hit it back with fire type moves. Doesn't get flamethrower, but if you're just looking at special moves, like this thing gets mystical fire, so you're gonna be hitting for damage. It gets extra sentry. It gets psychic. Like you hit a lot of them in the game for some damage. I think this is going to be one of those Pokemon where if you're a really dedicated Trick Room team, you could see use in this guy as well. Just because this guy just kind of sticks around on the board. Also, if you're concerned about other Pokemon, you can always have Taunt. I think it's gonna be general versatility. And if your team's a bit weak to Spore, and you need a soft check, Enamorus could be there for like a Spore switching and generally being not a great wall, but a wall to the point where like you wall enough, and even if you don't invest in special tech a lot, 155 coming off a Moonblast is still going to be doing a lot, so you're chipping a lot in the metagame, and you're also going to be able to take hits. So I think Enamorus, this form is going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be that good, but I think you'll see it a couple of times. However, this form with the contrary set, I think you could be seeing a lot. This annoys me, so I'm going to put player off superpower, because that just does not look right to me. Okay. Superpower, I don't know, taunt. Okay, that looks much better. Alright, Moltres Galar. Yet again, the flying typing is not good in this minigame. For Landorus, it works better because, number one, technically Bundle whoops your ass because you're 4 times weak to Icy Wind, which does suck. However, you're immune to Regieleki, so the ground typing collaboration there really helps it. But Moltres, actually, I picked this one now because I thought it would be good, but this one's kind of gonna be ass. Number one, actually, I don't know why I put this mon on here. This mon's gonna be ass, like really ass. Huh. Okay, well, I guess I want to touch on all the bird trio. Zapdos, I mean, yes, it gets Defiant, and yes, there's going to be lots of Landorus, but I don't think Zapdos can carve a niche, because considering in Regulation D is going to be a lot about speed control and these fast offensive Pokemon, to the point where if you're a flying type, you're at a major disadvantage just because the metagame is going to be Electro Web and Icy Wind focused. So Moltres Galar doesn't have any breathing room, especially considering because we have Fluttermane in this generation, which Fluttermane just obliterates and tears the sky a new one. Zapdos kind of the same way, where it's just weak to a lot of new Pokemon. Yes, if they Electro Web, technically you get the attack boost, but it can't really utilize that because then you're slower than a Pokemon, and then you're probably going to be KO'd by it because Zapdos isn't that bulky. So it doesn't really work for that. Moltres is similar enough to a point where it has good bulk, but it lacks damage output in this metagame. Like really, even when Berserk procs and you get +1 off of 100 base special attack with 80 base power move is not good. Moltres is really only good when there was Dynamax. That's when it excelled. Right now, no. And then what's the other one? Articuno, we're not going to talk about that. So I'm going to delete Moltres. I thought Moltres was going to be good, but the more I think and the more I sit down and talk about this, because this is the first time I'm analyzing Regulation D and all these new Pokemon from home. So we're going to delete that guy, and we're going to move on to the Pokemon I think we've all been waiting for. We're actually going to move Landorus up because I want to talk about the regular form second. Landorus Therian is a form that I think people are really concerned about for a lot of good reasons. I mean, it's going to be insanely good. Earthquake is going to be hitting a lot of things, and the reason why I think Earthquake is going to be insanely good in this metagame is because obviously I've been talking about throughout this video, Flying type sucks ass in this metagame. Flying types, not good. The only flying types that I can excuse, that I can say like are going to be good is, actually let's look at the flying types and why they're going to be good. It's just organized by base stats. Dragonite is going to fall off, in my opinion. Landorus is going to be good because the flying type, you're immune to Regieleki. Enamorous, it's only going to be good because of Contrary, but even then it's going to have to fight to carve a niche. Thundurus, the Prankster set is going to be really good, and the flying type doesn't actually helps Thundurus because yet again, it has Prankster, so it can disrupt the opponent in a lot of ways. Torn, it has Prankster, but all these other Pokemon, the flying type is terrible for them in this metagame, so we're not going to talk about that. Okay. Where was I? Landorus. Obviously Intimidate. You know what this guy does. You know what he does. I don't feel like I need to go over that. However, what I do need to go over is Terra changes this mon. Now, Dynamax, Landorus was absolutely amazing because then Fly. Like, what's really interesting is a lot of formats that Landorus has been allowed in, it's either had Z-moves or Dynamax to where you could make its flying stab work in some way, whether it be max airstream or as super powerful supersonic sky strike. But now it doesn't have flying stab because no one's going to run fly, which means you're going to be running earthquake, you're going to be running rock slide, you're going to be running U-turn and like Terra Blast or something, or protect. So you only have like, your main stab is going to be ground, but I think that's okay that like it lost its one stab that it can use, because really this guy's just so versatile. He's always going to be good. However, it will make it interesting because, yes, if you needed in like Gen 7, if you wanted to use Landorus with a flying stab, you had to select the Z move on, but that also meant that you code Amoonguss and put a lot of pressure on stuff where you otherwise wouldn't with a Z move, where Landorus can't do that. Now it's relying, its main damage output is going to be Earthquake. And I think Landorus will obviously succeed in this format. There's no doubt that Landorus will succeed in this format. But I know it's going to be really good. Because if you think about it, you run Spadef, you're taking on Fluttermane, you're taking on Chi-Yu, you beat Iron Hands. Yes, Iron Hands can Terra and Ice Punch you, but you can U-turn for pivoting. That's the main thing. You can U-turn. If they don't Terra, if they Terra, you're chipping them for like 30%. If they don't Terra, you can Earthquake. It is a Pokemon that will beat most of the meta. You're a check to probably the #1 usage Pokemon in the format, which is probably going to be Regieleki. Let's give it a buck here. Yes, Urshifu, you don't deal... Like, Urshifu is going to be a check to this. There are a lot of Pokemon that check this Pokemon now. Specifically, yeah, we have the new Enamorous, we have Iron Bundle, we have Fluttermane, Pokemon that outspeed, Pokemon that deal damage, we have Chenpao, which is why I am tending to lean that Landorus won't be as good. However, I know people are going to find some magical set where it's like Terra Water, Assault Vest, with like 84 attack investment, just enough to O-code this with enough bulk to live this hit, and it's going to be broken, and all the Japanese players are going to spam it on ladder, and then some guy from the US is going to take that set and go to a regional and absolutely crush the competition. I'm fucking calling it. That's exactly what's going to happen. Just saying. But Landorus, yeah, there are a lot of more Pokemon that threaten just outright KO it or deal with it with their higher speed tiers and with their increased power levels. However, Landorus is still Landorus, and this mon is still going to do what it has always done. The other Pokemon I want to talk about is Landorus I, or whatever, just a regular Landorus. This Pokemon's interesting. You ever just like get a follow request on Instagram and you have no idea who this person is, and they have like a heart in their name, so you know it's one of those probably spam accounts? Who is this? Why are you requesting to follow me? Don't simp. I don't know who that girl is. She's trying to follow me on Insta, which you should, because I'm a legend on there. 5 posts to the moon, baby. Okay, Landorus, this guy, the more I'm thinking about it, I don't like him. Because based upon what I've said previously about Landorus Therian, is, yes, a lot of things just outright threaten to kill it. But it has that bulk, it has that versatility. However, what I will say is, in an offensively geared metagame, Landorus is not going to be good. But as soon as that metagame shifts towards a semi-more balance is when Landorus, this one, could potentially carve a niche. Because once you start seeing stuff like Amoonguss, Arcanine, Iron Hands, Landorus comes in and devours the shit out of that with Life Orb, Earth Power. So I think, initially, this guy won't be good. But if the metagame shifts to balance, which I'm assuming it will, because I don't think it's going to be offense all the way through, he's going to be pretty good. People are going to be pretty scared, and I'm gonna have fun using him, because at some point this mon's going to be just fun. Because Landorus is the definition of just, alright, you deal damage, you click buttons, and it's great, and I love it for that. It's one of those Pokemon where it's like, you don't have to think super hard. I mean, you do, because you have to target the correct slot, and yada yada, and position well, and with like Tailwind and managing your speed control. But it just feels nice. Whenever you click a move, whenever you click Earth Power or Sludge Bomb or whatever, and you deal a lot of damage, it always just feels, it's bliss. I don't know why, it's just satisfying with this Pokemon for some reason. But speaking of speed control, Tornadus. Now, Talonflame has been our guy for this metagame. And the reason why Talonflame is the best Tailwind setter is because of Gale Wings. But obviously Gale Wings had that nerf. And so now if you're not at full HP, well, we gotta see what Joseph Ugarte is running. Oh. What's Joe running? He's running, he's running the Ursaluna stuff. And like, okay, look at this. He's running Ursaluna, and what can Typhoia, what is that name? Typhoius do? Like, yeah, you can switch in Tinglu, you can mitigate because only one turn Trick Room. But something is dying. Okay. You're dead. You're literally dead. Okay, it lived, but barely, alright? Because that's like hella bold. You know what I'm saying? And like, still, what the hell do you do? He's Terra Normal, you're asleep, you Dazzling Gleam or whatever, and you Facade, and it's Jover, bro. You get the Protect, but you're not targeting. Like, you're always targeting the Tinglu here. Alright, Joe's choking the fuck out of this game. Never mind. Good job, Joe. Dude, Joe is ass. I'm 2-0 versus him in sets. Like, this guy's bad. No, I'm joking. Maybe if he didn't lose to my Terra Psychic Armrouge in Orlando, he would be better. But, you know, he didn't. Anyways. Torn being... Okay, what's so good about Torn is, number one, priority Tailwind. Okay. And yes, you're up here flying, so you're obviously going to suffer to all those guys. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you have Prankster, which means you can take an Electro Web. You're going to be at like 30%, but then you can still priority Tailwind, whatever, cool. You have access to your own speed control, because I'm pretty sure this thing still gets Icy Wind. Yeah, it still has Icy Wind. You can run Hurricane, you can run Air Slash. And the thing about Torn is infinitely stronger than Talonflame, and you don't take recoil, and you have a bit more bulk than Talonflame does. So like, yeah, 78, 71, so you have 78, 71, 78, 71, 74. Okay, so you have a bit more bulk than Talon does. And the nice thing about this guy is that you, number one, you just hit harder with your moves, and you're not doing recoil. You have access to, number one, Tailwind, and then speed control. And yeah, Torn just enables stuff so much better than Talon would. It's just a better guy. And it also enables for a much more offensive gear meta. So like, you'll have Torn paired with Flutterman, you'll have it paired with Iron Bundle, you'll have it paired with obviously Urshifu, with a Regieleki, those type of Pokemon. Now I'm getting into the Pokemon that I think are going to be kind of niche. We already touched on Cresselia, so I'm just gonna push that guy out of the way here. All right, who do I want to talk about here? Let's talk about Heatran. Actually, first, I need some water, dude. I'm parched. Man, Heatran is interesting. I feel like Heatran is never bad in the VGC format. There are formats where it's certainly not great. I mean, think about it. I remember back in like Sun Series 2019, Yeah, Heatran's not great because you have Kyogre, you have Groudon, but it still somehow carved a niche and got like top 8 at a regional or some shit in GS Cup. And it's normally not good in GS Cup. Heatran just always pops up. It always does well. It's always that guy. He's always like that one friend that whenever you're down, whenever you have a question about something, whenever you're not so sure, whenever you just like need a guy to go to, he's there. That friend is there for you. And that's Heatran. I feel like in any situation, Heatran's good. You want to slap this thing on Tailwind offense? Go for it. You want to slap this thing on Trick Room team? Go for it. You want to slap this guy on a Rain team? Fuck it. Go for it, bro. It just feels like every team Heatran just gravitates towards, and it's like, I can fit in this team. He's kind of like Incineroar in that sense. Not as extreme like Incineroar, but in my opinion, he has really good stats. And honestly, when you're looking at this metagame, yes, it's weak to Urshi, the Urshi brothers, and yada, yada, yada. But it's weak to a lot of the metagame. But you're immune to Chi-Yu, which is a start. You're immune to Chi-Yu. And I think Heatran is a Terramon. Because if you Terra Heatran, well, yeah. So Heatran beats Fluttermane, Heatran beats Chi-Yu. If you Terra Heatran, it can potentially beat Bundle. But probably not, because there's not really a Terra that beats Bundle. But you can beat the Urshi guys. It's one of those Pokemon where you don't downright beat everything, but you just beat down stuff. I feel like Heatran's gonna be pretty good. I definitely keep an eye out for it. I mean, obviously you're gonna like the Heat Wave stuff, yada yada yada, whatever. But another Pokemon that I think is going to be interesting is Spectrier. Now, what's really interesting is power creep has been crazy these past few years. I mean, when Gen 8 came out and we got Spectrier, everyone thought this mod was absolutely insane. Yes, it's only stab. Only true stab is Shadow Ball. Well, you know what they give it now? They give it Draining Kiss, so fuck the Urshifus. Those bitches are dying. Oh, you want like Terra Fairy so you can resist the Sucker Punch? You resist the Sucker Punch, you KO, you OHKO back with Draining Kiss. And then you recover all your HP back from the Sucker Punch, which probably did like 35% because it's a Glastrier. Or because it's a Spectrier and its defense is bad. But you know what I'm saying? Like, Spectrier, yes, it was good in Gen 8. And now it's like not as good just because Fluttermane's going to be a thing and like all the Pokemon outspeed it, yada yada yada. But 130 speed is still really good. It's going to be really good with Tailwind teams. And if you want to run like Shadow Ball stuff, that's good because Grimnay will always be good. But I don't think that the Shadow Ball set is actually, or like that super hyper offense is what you want to run. Because in reality, this thing gets Wisp, this thing gets Snarl, it gets Taunt. But really, you have fast Wisp, you have fast Wisp, fast Snarl. You could run Castive if you want. You could run Sash. But like, you have fast Wisp, you have fast Snarl, and you can run Draining Kiss for your stab or whatever to OHKO. But I feel like bulky Spectrier or like Sash, Wisp, Snarl, Draining Kiss, Shadow Ball, or whatever you want to run, Spectrier is going to carve a niche. Now, I don't think this mon's going to be good, but what I think is going to happen is it's going to fill very specific roles for very specific teams. It's going to allow a couple certain players to pilot to like a top 8 finish here and there. It's always going to be one of those Pokemon where whenever you see it in a team, you still have to respect it, and you still have to play around it, but it's never going to be meta relevant. But I think Spectrier is going to carve that niche because really, Snarl's going to be very hard to come by. I mean, I know our next Pokemon we're going to talk about, Thunder is to get Snarl, so we're going to talk about that. But Snarl, you know, it's not super relevant right now just because not many Pokemon that are meta relevant get it. So Spectrier is going to be one of the few Snarl Pokemon, and it gets Will-O-Wisp. So it's really going to act like a new Arcanine with a much faster base speed. And it also gets access to a move to OHKO Urshifu. And actually probably both, maybe both Urshis given some investment here. But I think it's worth a shot. I think Spectrier could fit on some teams. Now, I would not day one of the format go and build a team around Spectrier. Spectrier is one of those Pokemon where its usefulness depends on the meta. When the meta shifts into something more Spectrier favorable, go on and use it. Like when we get Regulation D, day one Regieleki is going to be good, and till the end of Regulation D, it's going to be good. But Spectrier is one of those Pokemon where it will have its ups and downs, and I think it's going to be good. Thunderous, this one's gonna be absolutely insane. Thunderous is gonna be really cool. But I don't know how relevant. Because the more I think about it, oh, Joe Sign got goobed. Oh, this meta's nasty, bro. Torkoal's son, Trick Room, Ursa. Wait, there's not even Trick Room. Where's the Trick Room, bro? What the fuck? Yo, this meta shiced. Oh, dude, he got hella gooped. Okay. Thunderous is kind of good. But I don't, okay, now that I think about it, I don't think it's going to be great. Here's the reason why. Speed control comes in forms of Tailwind, Icy Wind, and Electro Web. Well, Thunderous doesn't have Tailwind. It has Thunder Wave. But here's the thing. If you're going to run Speed Control, you're either going to run a Tailwind mon like Tornadus or like Talonflame. Talonflame can still probably have a niche. There are a couple reasons why, but I won't go over them now. Or you're going to run Electro Web or Icy Wind, which means you're going to run Bundle or yada, 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 whatever. And the reason why Bundle and that's going to be good is because if you're going to run Speed Control, you're probably going to be a fast-paced team, especially in a fast-paced meta like this. And Thunderous doesn't really fit the bill for that metagame. The metagame's too fast-paced for Thunderous to work effectively. Even Defiant's not going to be that good. Really, you might see Thunderous once or twice, but I think Thunderous is something that, in theory, seems pretty good, but in practice, I don't think this mon's going to be great. And then Glacier. I think this mon's going to be good because it is really, it's like the one Urshifu counter or the one guy, the what the fuck is it called? Ursaluna counter. Because really, if you're expecting, okay, number one, if you run offensive this guy, you just Shimon the hell out of it with like max attack. Brave Nature hits like 222 or something. Probably not. Is it 222? No, it's like 215. I don't know. 216. Okay. You Shimon it, but if you're really feeling up to it, if you're really feeling up to being able to sponge all those hits, because Ursaluna is going to be one of the best Pokemon in the metagame, then this is the set. This is the set. Trust me on this. Where's the nature? I don't know if you guys remember this, but there's a specific point in time where I don't know if it was regular Glacier or I think it was Calyrex Ice. We're in Iron Defense Body Press. Now, let's do a little bit of a calc here, just because I'm curious to see how this works out. Because yes, the reason why I want to do this is because Ursaluna might Terra. You know, if it Terra's normal, yeah, close combat still hits it for a lot. But if they're like Terra Water for some unknown reason, let's just count close combat first into Ursaluna. Ursaluna max, just max HP. Why not? Because really, that's all you need on max HP is 252. For this thing to have insane bulks, 237 is absolutely insane. Close combat, if you are Brave Nature and let's say Life Orb. Brave Nature, Life Orb, close combat is a roll to kill, but then that means you're going to get Shimoned. So if you don't want to do that, instead what you could do is, was it Careful? No, it's Impish. You're low on disk space. Oh shit. Fuck. It's fine. We'll finish out the video. Okay. Impish, 116 HP, body press into this guy. Yes, I know I'm low on disk space. Thank you. Okay. Body press onto this guy at +2 defense. I think it's more of a roll to kill. You have a higher chance to kill, and that means you're not getting the HP drop or the defense drop. So I think Glacier could carve a niche. It's also another counter to Amoonguss for Trick Room teams. And if you're really feeling crazy, you could try to run Weakness Policy. However, I just think it's better to run like Life Orb, Lumberry, or something like that. Okay, those are all the new mons. I think I talked a lot about all the new Pokemon and you know, the ones that are going to be meta relevant. I really think this meta is going to be very interesting because I think it's going to be a mix of like kind of hyper offense and trick room. It's going to be hyper offense no matter if it's like the tailwind stuff or the hyper offense trick room. I think balance is going to come in a little bit later because I think first things first, it's just going to be pretty offensive metagame. But I'm still looking forward to it. And I think the metagame is actually going to be balanced, which sounds crazy. But I think the metagame is going to be balanced just because thing is Fluttermane was so annoying to deal with, and like those Pokemon like the Iron Bundle, stuff like that, because nothing came close in power level in terms of how good it was. But now we have Pokemon that are just as good, if not better, that can counter, but still are countered by other things. It feels like everything is kind of contained in this bubble where like everything's really good, but it's still counterable. Anyways, I talked for way too long. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's just kind of my analysis into the new Pokemon, how they might be good. And just know that we might have 2 regionals coming up for the 2024 season. And they might be pretty good. You know, they might be 2 in September, so we have to watch out for some obviously locals post worlds and 2 regionals in the US. Let's hope. So Regulation D is something to watch out for, and it's still, you still should play it. Now I think if you want to take a summer break, that's fine, but I would definitely recommend playing Regulation D, as I think it's still relevant. Especially going into starting, you know, having a strong start in the 2024 season, and obviously play it if you're in Worlds. Anyways, I've rambled on for too long, and as you can tell, my energy has gone down. I'm pretty tired. I want to like edit this video and just kind of go to bed or something, play Zelda. I don't know. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, and I'll catch you all later.